This is Sam Prue from Who Would Win Masters. We've opened new official channels and we want you there. Follow Who Would Win Masters on Instagram and subscribe to youtube.com/@WhoWouldWinMasters. And on YouTube, click the Visit Community button to leave your 1v1 battle challenges. Leave a comment and you might just hear it read on the show. Be a part of the arena, be a part of the debate. Now let's dive in. In space, no one can hear you scream. But one man proves they can hear you curse. An engine tears across the blackness between stars. Chains rattle, metal groans. A cigar ember burns bright against the void as a lone rider rockets forward, laughing at physics and every law written to contain him. Then, far below, across a brightly colored wasteland, a silhouette rises into the sky. Dust swirls into spirals. Purple light crackles through the air. Books, lessons, and friendship seem very far away as raw magic gathers around a figure who refuses to back down. One arrives like a bar fight with a driver's license. The other ascends like a lesson the universe forgot to learn. The stars dim, the magic brightens. This week, chaos meets harmony. The main man meets the magic of friendship. The universe's most unwanted bounty hunter, Lobo, versus the princess of friendship, Twilight Sparkle. Tonight we ride the lightning between chaos and friendship, where cosmic destruction meets magical education, and where somebody is about to learn a very important lesson, whether they want to or not. Welcome back to another matchup from Who Would Win Masters. I am Sam Proof on all the socials, and in this episode, representing DC Comics, the main man of Frag, a man so bad they banned him from both heaven and hell, the interstellar galactic mother. I can't read my own words, so there you go, Ray. The interstellar bounty hunter who proves that violence isn't the answer, it's the question. And his answer is always yes. It's Lobo! And representing Hasbro Studios, the princess of friendship who spent years studying magic leadership and harmony, only to discover that making friends is easy when you've got a stable relationship. Twilight Sparkle! And now, to introduce our guest, the man behind J3Boxing.com. You know him as a former part of the original Who Would Win podcast, former comic writer. He's part of our summer tournament, aspiring stand-up comedian, so many other things. Jay Sandlin. Jay, welcome back. You were just here. I feel like you were here minutes ago, but welcome back. Has anything major changed? No, probably not. Why don't you tell us why you picked Lobo?
I love this Bastich. I mean, he killed every living thing on a planet. He killed Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny for fun. He is so awful that heaven and hell both spat him out, like you said. How would you not pick Lobo? And he's a good-looking guy, too.
Definitely. All right. With that said, it is time for tonight's Tale of the Tape, which is brought to you by Wallet Chains. Why just keep your wallet in your pocket like some commoner when you could have it affixed via chain to your belt loop? You can say it's because of personal security, but you and I both know you just think chains look cool. A regular standard old saw? Lame. A chainsaw? Coolest thing ever. Wallet Chains, the chainsaw of pocket protection. Vroom, baby. Tonight, we have another rematch from the previous iteration of this show. On one side, we have Lobo. Lobo's an intergalactic bounty hunter with a bad attitude from DC Comics. Hailing from Zarnia, Lobo was originally used as a parody of the grim and gritty popular style of the 1990s, but ended up being one of the most popular characters of that style. Lobo has his high-level strength and speed, as well as a healing factor that can cause him to regenerate from a single atom. Lobo will be featured in the soon-to-be-released Supergirl movie, played by Jason Momoa. Lobo was created by Roger Slifer and Keith Giffen, and first appeared in Omega Men #3 back in 1983. On the other side, we go with a very different type of opponent in Twilight Sparkle. Twilight Sparkle is a unicorn, later an alicorn, from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. She is an exceptionally talented magic user who assumes the mantle of Princess of Friendship, making her effectively the leader of Equestria. Twilight Sparkle was created by Lauren Faust and first appeared in Friendship is Magic Part 1 in 2010. I think it's time to introduce your opponent for today, Ray. He's done this battle once before, and gosh darn it, he's going to go for it again. It's Ray Stakenas. Ray, why are we going down this Lobo versus Twilight Sparkle road again?
I'll tell you why indeed, Mr. Sam Proof. It is because this is the matchup of the decade. We performed it once before on the previous iteration of the Who Would Win show. And I thought that it is one of the best battles that we perhaps ever did. That being said, I think that we could do it even better this time. I think that's one that had a very controversial judge's decision, and I want the people to hear a brilliantly crafted argument for each of these combatants, and I want them to vote on who they think won. Not just that, I think these two characters, Lobo, Twilight Sparkle, are mortal enemies that just don't know each other yet. I think that if their paths were to ever cross, it would be one of the most dynamic, contrast of styles battles in the history of media. Also, I'm wearing the official Benny T Say Word Lobo versus Twilight Sparkle t-shirts that they produced. I don't know if they still produce them. You might want to go hit up Say Word and see if they could slap a couple off the rack for you. This is the shirt everybody should want. This is the battle everyone should want. Gosh darn it, I'm ready to do this again.
Well, then, here are the rules in under 1 minute that everyone should want.
Here are your rules for Who Would Win Masters in 1 minute. Number 1, there will be 3 timed rounds with counterpoints allowed. Number 2, characters will have no prior knowledge of their opponent and no outside interference will be allowed. Number 3, keep the characters in character. Outliers and crossovers will be given less weight. Number 4, battles can be won by death, knockout, battlefield removal, or incapacitation. And number 5, after the battle, I will give my unofficial opinion as to who wins and why. However, I am just one voice. It will be up to all of you on our social media and our Patreon to make your voices heard as to who won.
All right, those are the rules, and it's time to get into it. Jay, as our guest, you will start us off. You have 3 minutes on the clock for point number 1, starting now.
All right, so point number 1, Lobo has stats and combat experience on a totally different level. Now, Twilight, she is powerful, but I say that Lobo fights in a completely different weight class with superior strength, durability, speed, so much more. In terms of strength, he has pulled the sun, a black hole, and other absurdly massive creatures on his bike. He's traded blows with Superman, Despero, Martian Manhunter, and Captain Marvel. His lift strength is at stellar level. He can actually swing Pulsar Stargrave, who was created from the LGM-1 Pulsar and possesses 1.4 stellar mass. His durability, multiverse level, with his regeneration making him basically impossible to kill. As mentioned before, he can regenerate from being a skeleton or even a single drop of blood, and he taps into the Toon Force. And that basically gives him Looney Tunes level abilities to do things way outside the spectrum of even regular comic book level feats. This guy once crushed an entire city in the palm of his hands and ate it. It's denser than a neutron star. He has survived disintegrations, explosions. Comparatively, in Princess, Friendship is Magic, Princess has been DBZ style punched through a mountain and felt it. Lobo would shrug that off like he was getting hit by a sprinkler on the 4th of July picnic. He's rolled with Superman repeatedly. He's arm wrestled and overpowered Supergirl, who some have suggested is even more powerful than Superman, and maybe one of the strongest beings in DC Universe. A hook on a chain is his primary weapon. It's made of an unbreakable, unknown material and can damage incredibly resilient targets, and they can strike from kilometers away. He doesn't even have to get close to Twilight to beat her. And he is so fast with this chain that he caught and calculated the Flash where he'd be and impaled his head with his trademark chain and hook weapon to his head. Twilight, much slower than Flash, but he's a master marksman, aims beyond superhuman. His bike, Space Hog, the Spaz Frag 666, can fly at space and massively FTL speed, responds to his commands, and Lobo often carries various high-tech weapons with him, such as guns, bombs, and even
30
time
seconds
machine.
remaining.
So, Lobo, genius-level intellect. He's got the edge in so many ways, and we're going to talk about some more of those as we go. But yeah, combat, ruthlessness, adaptation. He even made a gun out of trash and was able to use it to destroy a planet. I mean, Lobo has the Death Star on his hip. Can Twilight handle that kind of power? When, Lobo...
All right, that's just a huge list of stuff to come out in point number 1. I'm curious to see where that goes. Ray, how's Twilight Sparkle facing off against someone that comes back from a drop of blood? 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
I think Lobo is one of my favorite characters of all time. Let me just say that right now. And he is a beast. He is powerful. He can go toe-to-toe with Superman, as Jay said. Jay, actually, that's crazy. Some of the feats that he brought up in point number 1, I personally would have saved till point number 3. So he must really have some juice coming. And that makes me a little bit terrified. But I'm going to talk to you about Twilight Sparkle, because if it comes down to punching, Lobo's going to win, but it's not going to come down to punching. Why? Because Twilight Sparkle is a magical creature. Look, she was gifted at a young age with big-time magical abilities. We'll get into what those abilities are later, but at least needs to be referenced out front. Literally, her superpower is the element of magic. She is the physical embodiment of magic. Now, she personally was enrolled by Celestia, who's sort of like the mentor pony in this universe, if you will. And she went to the school for gifted unicorns. She's a gifted child, and she has all the burdens of being a gifted child. She's kind of got a messy thought process. She has trouble getting her stuff together in the early seasons. And then as the goes on and goes further and she gets more powerful, like Jay said, DBZ style, she then gets herself personally together and is able to kind of function in society with her great powers. Celestia, of course, co-ruler of Equestria. And she studied. One of the reasons why she became so powerful with magic, one, she was a living conduit of magic, sure, but she put in the work to learn the magic through studying, through books, through attempts, through incantations. Kids, stay in school. That's what I'm trying to tell you right here. She can also fly. Lobo needs a motorcycle flying through the air in order to fly. Twilight Sparkle does not. She can fly around, I would argue, probably a lot more cleanly than Lobo can, because he has to rely on a machine to do it for him. And Jay mentioned it in his point number 1. Durability is a big thing for Twilight Sparkle. She did, in fact, get slammed through a mountain by a boss demon centaur, we'll just say. But she shook it off almost immediately, and then she was able to teleport and blast him pretty much as soon as she got through the mountain, and was showing no ill effects of that damage pretty much immediately after it happened. You know, Jay, of course, is going to lean into some of the Toon Force here. Twilight Sparkle is a Toon and also has the Toon Force on her own side. She will take massive concussive shots sometimes and will stand up very, very quickly afterwards. For example, the Chrysalis beam attack that she got hit with made a little cut on her cheek, and then she's like, whatever, keeps on going. And finally, she was a unicorn at the start of the series. She ascended to being an alicorn, which is like the trifecta of the pony universe. And that she was an alicorn for longer than she was a unicorn, for the record. And that gives her the trifecta: the Earth pony strength, Pegasus agility and flight, and the magic of the unicorns. She got it all.
All right, good stuff. Jay, you have 1 minute for your counterpoint, starting now.
I'm going to use my counterpoint to get a couple more powers in. She does have great powers, but Lobo also has extrasensory perception, meaning he's capable of tracking anyone anywhere in the universe once he gets their scent. And what will be important later on, more so, is his powers of possession. He can actually become a spirit and possess other beings. So if for some reason his own body is unavailable or disabled, as we've already discussed, that's not done easily. He can possess another living being as a spirit, and that body transforms into something resembling Lobo's form. So any of those powers she tries, if they make a difference, She tries to transmutate him, turn him to stone, turn him into whatever. He can essentially essence transfer into her. And we would theoretically have a My Little Pony looking Lobo. I think those would sell really well, especially on the second market, second degree pony market. The bronies would love that.
Yeah, we're going to have to get our merch team on that. Anyone out there? Can we get some Lobo corns? Aloe Lobos? Lobosisses? Anyway.
That is some AI art that I know is coming that I'm a little afraid of, is what I'm trying to say.
And that's what the Discord's for. So go waste your credits on Lobo Twilight Sparkle mashups, post them in the Discord. We'll talk about them in the wrap up. I don't understand where this match could possibly go in 2 more points. So much has been put out on the table already, and how two Toon Force characters are going to actually find a decisive win is pretty insane. So we'll see what happens after this break.
If you felt stuck trying to lose weight, you're not alone. Enter Weight Loss by Hers. It's designed to support you in reaching your goals. And Hers now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hers, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first GLP-1 available in a pill, so there are no needles needed. Everything is 100% online through Hers. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a range of affordable GLP-1 options, Hers makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/women to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/women. forhers.com/women. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A/S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
All right, welcome back. Let's just jump right into it. There's probably so much more to get in here. It can only go to the moon and back. So, Jay, 3 minutes on the clock for your point number 2, starting now.
All right, so Twilight has powerful magic, but Lobo has been there, done that, beaten more powerful magic users. He has spent decades fighting opponents whose powers are every bit as strange and supernatural. He was able to capture Deadman, who can also open portals like Princess Twilight. He notably has knocked out Shazam and tied him to his bike and did a victory lap. I mean, Shazam is magic Superman. I don't think Princess Twilight could beat Shazam, and Lobo turned the guy into a hood ornament. He's also fought a bloodlusted Zatanna, one of the most powerful magic users in DC, tanked her attacks. He's also gone against Dr. Fate, Ragman, Enchantress, Etrigan, killed gods in heaven. The dude went to hell and killed demons and just enjoyed the place so much they kicked him out. And another big reason Twilight can't put Lobo away is that he's banned from both heaven and hell, thus making him immortal. And then 2 elder characters in the DC universe, God, Gawd, and Dave, who have powerful reality warping abilities. They tried to reality warp and transmutate Lobo. He tanked them and destroyed them violently. How do you take the guy out if there's no afterlife to go to? He just keeps coming back. Twilight's game plan probably depends on finding a way to disable Lobo with her magic. I'm going to go back to a few things on that, but I think the best healing factor in fiction, regenerating from things that would permanently take anyone else out. Decapitation doesn't stop him. He can come back from being a skeleton. And even a single drop of blood could create a new Lobo. In some cases, it's created an army of Lobos, so he can call for reinforcements at any time. Ray will probably argue that they can't work together, but I think if they see a pretty princess horse thing, they'll instantly want to destroy it. So Ray mentioned her intelligence. I got to hand you on that one. But knowing Twilight, and I'll talk more about this later, I think she may be more prone to withdraw and begin studying when she encounters someone as chaotic as Lobo. She can go for all her powers, but Lobo, another thing he can do is touch intangible
30
beings.
seconds remaining.
He's hit Martian Manhunter. He's even knocked out a ghost. So I'm going to say Twilight's magic is powerful, but her usual win is disabling, banishing, transforming, or overwhelming an opponent. Lobo has shown that conventional defeat conditions simply don't stick, and far more powerful magic users have tried. So if Twilight can't quickly take him down, it's going to be a battle of attrition, and that's against Lobo, who specializes in coming back.
I think Jay just said that Twilight Sparkle was Batman and just needed more prep time for this battle. But let's see what Ray has to say in his point number 2. 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
I think that Jay did a great job talking about the physicality of it, but you got to remember, my point number 1 was just about setting the table. It was about talking about how Twilight Sparkle is a powerful alicorn with Toon Force abilities and powerful magic, and I think that's a great framework to talk about her actual abilities, because she opens up with magical blasts. She can blast walls into utter nothingness. Usually her opener against an opponent, if she's never seen them before, is to hit them with a whole bunch of magical blast attacks, which can Lobo regenerate from? Yeah, I think so, but it definitely lets him know right out the bat that this is going to be a real battle. I mean, look, she does Toon Force stuff. I saw her blast and slice a cloud in half in the sky, and then half that cloud fell down to earth like it was attached like Wile E. Coyote anvil or something. It was crazy. So keep that in mind. You know, one of her big spells is the Crystal Prison spell. She can use this to encase enemies in crystal in order to incapacitate them. She once used this on a quartet of bad guys in the episode The Ending of the End Part 2. I would argue that she's not going to kill Lobo. I don't think she would kill Lobo even if given the chance to. I think she's going to find a different way to win this through either incapacitation or battlefield removal. And I do believe that that's the angle that she's going to take in order to win this. Because if it comes down to, as Jay said, a battle of attrition, I think Lobo's healing factor makes up the difference. But Lobo gets beat often by being tricked. He gets beat often by falling for something because he's not the smartest guy. And I think a very intelligent character like Twilight Sparkle, who's been there, done that, seen it before, can absolutely catch him off guard with something, given that I don't think he's ever fought anybody like this pony before. But more abilities. Telekinesis. She once grabbed every single piece of a dam that had been destroyed and pushed it back into place until the water stopped. And she could use telekinesis as a stasis against other people. She could hold them in the air with telekinesis. You know, if you're up in space and you're even an inch away from everything around you, you could just spin in place forever without actually being able to touch anything. So I think she could use her telekinesis to hold him in place for 2 minutes so she can get him up off the ground and away from all of his stuff. But she also has force fields. She could target a big one around her or a small targeted one right in front of her. She casts aside and absorbs any kind of long-range attack that comes after her, especially if it's aimed at her head, which is where Lobo likes to throw the hook. Ask the Flash. But she's also got teleportation. She often uses it in combat to reposition where she is and blast somebody from above or behind where they're not seeing it coming, which could set them off, set them off balance, and so she could follow however she wants to. And Lobo himself is been beat by magic before. Dr. Fate was actually able to magically bind Lobo. Etrikin the demon got the better of him with some hellfire once. Heck, in a crossover event with Ghost Rider, he got hit with, the big one, and it did in fact get him. And finally, Lobo, he's got arrogance and overconfidence. Because he's unkillable, he puts himself in harm's way and is able to be beaten because he's not thinking 3 steps ahead.
All right, Jay, the glove has been tossed. How does Lobo deal with this incapacitation? You've got 1 minute for your counterpoint. Feel free to talk about that or anything else, starting now.
All right, so whether it's the force field, stasis, telekinesis, whatever, Lobo's willpower is high level. He has broken through Green Lantern's constructs with 3 Green Lanterns trying to hold him down at once. He's broken through that. Those are not going to be any stronger than anything Princess Twilight can throw at him. I believe battlefield removal is basically impossible with Lobo, and that's because he can fly right back instantly on his bike, and he has extrasensory perception, meaning he's capable of tracking anywhere in the universe once he gets their scent. So he would know exactly where to go back. He can travel that quickly. It sounds impressive, but I am thinking that with his other feats, he can hang in there and, not really be that concerned with being held in place. Worst case scenario, though, he can still possess her and move past his physical body.
All right, this is an amazing battle. This is awesome stuff. The feats keep coming, and I don't know where it could possibly go in our point number 3, but we're going to find out after this break. All right, welcome back. It is time for our point number 3. Time to see where the nail in the coffin lands. Jay, you have 3 minutes on the clock, starting now.
All right, so Lobo thrives in chaos while Twilight relies on control. She's the bookworm at school. She's a scholar who later became a hero. Lobo is a pro killer who became a chaotic force. Ray said Twilight may be a chess player, but I think Lobo will just destroy the board before she can even make her first move. Going against smart people isn't a new challenge for Lobo. He fights dirty. He improvises constantly. He weaponizes anything. And I'm going to say that Twilight's greatest weakness, it comes down to OCD-like meltdowns. Throughout Friendship is Magic, she repeatedly has extreme anxiety when things just don't go according to plan. Like in the episode Lesson 0, where she completely goes into irrational disarray over a friendship report. Multiple episodes where minor disruptions trigger obsessive behavior, while, as we know, Lobo is arguably the most aggravating being in fiction. When the guy was born, the nurse who delivered him went insane after he chewed off 4 of his fingers. So if baby Lobo can cause insanity just by being born, what's he going to do to Twilight's mind? And last but not least here, Lobo, he has the power to break the fourth wall. He's manipulated comic book panels and interacted with DC's creative team even. If the fight isn't going his way, he can change the reality he's in. It's even possible that Lobo is watching us right now. So if this debate isn't going his way, he's actually listening and could fly into the studio and just beat the crap out of Ray until Ray admits defeat. So be careful what you say, Ray. Sam and the rest of the viewers, be careful who you choose, because Lobo just may fly in and put you down for not picking the main man. So, like I said, magic isn't enough because Lobo has beaten and survived magical threats before. His power, durability, and combat experience just exceed anything Twilight normally deals with. Another important point is Twilight is going solo in this battle. She usually operates as part of a team. She does not have her regular support from those friends who make her truly powerful, because friendship is magic. Now,
30 seconds remaining.
Twilight's psychological weaknesses are exactly the kind of weaknesses that Lobo specializes in exploiting. He's going to go after her weak spots like that OCD. Every expectation she has will be violated. Every attempt at control will become another opportunity for Lobo to make situations worse. She's been driven to breakdowns by far less. So, remember, Lobo is listening, guys.
All right, Ray, I'm not sure if point number 3 is actually about Twilight Sparkle's ability to defeat Lobo or Ray's ability to defeat Lobo, but 3 minutes on the clock, and I guess watch your back. Starting now.
So here's the deal. First off, I do want to talk about this possession fee because Jay mentioned it in both of his points up to so far. And that's, he can only possess people if he's killed. He can only possess people if he's killed because his spirit wanders because he is not welcome in either heaven or hell, as we said before. So if Twilight Sparkle kills Lobo, that is a victory in a battle. Do you not win by death? So I would argue the battle is over by the time he would even have a chance to possess her, given that circumstance. And also, Lobo's funny because it's all about who's writing the story. Is this happening in a Lobo comic or somebody else's comic? Because we've seen Lobo do the crazy things, these crazy outliers, smash up a town, eat it, all this Toon Force stuff. We've also seen him get kicked once in the gut by He-Man and be out of commission for the rest of the comic book. So which Lobo is going to show up? Remember, this is, of course, a neutral location. I do like his fourth wall breaking elements, but at the same time, Twilight Sparkle can, do a little bit of that herself by the fact that she could put herself into a book and take other people with her and live inside the pages of a novel. It helps her learn even faster. But let's talk about extra powers that she has. Gravity manipulation. On top of the telekinesis, she has the gravity manipulation. And if Lobo doesn't have gravity to work off of, perhaps you could end up in that space situation I mentioned earlier. She also has transmutation. Who needs to destroy Lobo when you could turn him into something less threatening? She once turned half of her class, including herself, into palm trees. And I think Twilight Sparkle versus Lobo is really tough physically. I think Lobo turning into a palm tree and being Twilight Sparkle versus a palm tree is an easy victory by incapacitation. Also, she conjectures that she could turn a pony into an apple. I would argue if she could transmute Lobo into a palm tree, that is an easy way for victory. She also has the stone sleep spell. So the legendary Earth pony Rockhoof famously asked Twilight Sparkle to cast a spell on him called the Stone Sleep Spell, which essentially knocked him out. If she can knock out Lobo and put him to sleep for 2 minutes, that's also a victory. Heck, she's got, I've seen her use her telekinesis a lot too, when I talk about holding him in place. I saw her use her telekinesis to grab a water tower, run it through a barn of cows, somehow fill it with milk that way, then lift in the air a giant lion monster, put the milk water tower bottle in his mouth, put him into a cave and put him to bed that way. This is absolute insanity. But the two ways I also see victory outside of what I've already said. One, portals. She could open portals into books, like I said before, and into other human realms and other realms such as the human realm. Very, very big deal. Send him away. He won't come back for 2 minutes. And also the want it, need it spell. This is how she could absolutely take advantage of him, makes him obsessed with an object, and then she could teleport the object away. Lobo's got the scent. He's going to keep chasing after it. If she can make that happen for 2 minutes, she could get him off the battlefield to battlefield removal.
All right, Jay, your third and final counterpoint. You have 1 minute on the clock, starting now.
That was a lot, but I'm going to say that I don't believe battlefield removal will work or any of the other ways he mentioned to take him out for 2 minutes because Lobo's bike is fast enough to return within 2 minutes, and he's always going to know where Sparkle is because he's got her scent. What I was really worried about was transmutation, like him being turned into a palm tree, an orange, or something like that. But luckily, we have the Toon Force, and I think Lobo would pull a Dragon Ball Z style maneuver like Vegito against Boo, where, whatever he turns into, he would just begin fighting in that form. So Palm Tree Lobo would just beat the crap out of Twilight Sparkle, and that would just make her so annoyed that it didn't go according to plan that she'll probably spaz out completely because things aren't going her way. She would continuously try to change tactics, but I think she would have to withdraw from the battle and start planning and studying based on what she'd seen of Lobo, and that would probably take more than 2 minutes. But yeah, Lobo just too fast.
All right, as always, Ray has not had counterpoints throughout the show, but he does get the final thought. So, Ray, take it away.
heck of a battle, Mr. J. Sandlin. I knew you were going to bring the heat today, and the heat was in fact brought. Was it enough to defeat me with Twilight Sparkle today? Well, my shirt says no. My other shirt says no. And I say no as well. I would just say that Lobo has one path to victory. He needs to pummel Twilight Sparkle, somebody with force fields, somebody with teleportation, and somebody who could blast him right off of her if she needs to. And I don't think that Lobo can necessarily do it before Twilight Sparkle, if you really break it down, can figure out a path to victory of her own, because she is going to try to encase him in crystal. Maybe he breaks out of it. She is going to try to potentially put him to sleep. Perhaps he wakes up at 1 minute, 58 seconds, like a true G of a battle would, right? It's the old Hulk Hogan. 1, 2, not 3. I could totally see Lobo pulling something like that. But when it comes down to being outsmarted, that's how Lobo gets beaten every single time. And I really do believe that want it, need it spell. And she made an entire group with, what are they, over a stick, a regular stick. And everybody needed it, and they were willing to do whatever it took in order to get it. And if she all of a sudden opened up a portal and teleported a stick, all the way across the universe, and Lobo immediately says, I don't care about this fight. The only thing I care about in life is going and getting this stick. He's going to take himself out of the battle, and he is going to go very far away, especially if she moves it around a whole bunch, and he will not be back within 2 minutes in order to take her out. I think that she could absolutely outsmart him in that way. Or my other favorite, well, two more, turn him into a palm tree, I think is absolutely a very viable path to victory, as well as the stasis telekinesis, as well as portaling him into the Great Gatsby. Imagine Lobo in the Great Gatsby. Now that's a story that would have gotten me to write a book report in high school.
All right, gentlemen, amazingly well done. I am going to turn into a palm tree and come back with my decision shortly.
Sam has weighed all the points made. Two figures met in collision. Now let's find out who would win. It's time to hear Sam's decision.
Well done, gentlemen. This was fantastic. This was an amazing battle between two very powerful characters. Jay started this match off with a bang, a boom, a frag, and listing off some amazing feats and powers, swinging pulsars, dragging black holes, and regenerating from a drop of blood. Ray representing Twilight Sparkle's own abilities, from flight and Toon Force shots to being the learned conduit of magic through her powers of study, and of course, the very real possibility of magic school busing Lobo into a palm tree. It looked like Jay had the pony bridled with Lobo's possession abilities, but Ray's argument that Lobo would have to die before being able to possess her would, of course, give her the victory first, but certainly not second. So this battle comes down to battlefield removal or incapacitation. Twilight can portal Lobo away to the human realm, or even a novel, or just transmutation into something else. Lobo can be anything. Take a look. He's in a book, a fraggin' rainbow. But LeVar Burton isn't here to break the fourth wall and save Lobo. And he's certainly not popping his head through my ceiling right now to intimidate me. I think on a second battle, Twilight Sparkle can use the prep time to win this or simply avoid the big battle a la Batman. But on a first encounter, does Lobo close the gap fast enough to destroy the pony, or does she blast her way to having Lobo sit and spin in space? This is almost too close to call, and I definitely want to see what people say on the Patreon. But I think, for me, in this case, Lobo pushes the pony back in an anxiety-driven frenzy and takes this. So I'm giving this to Jay with Lobo.
Wow. That is hugely disappointing to hear, Sam
I'm
Proof.
sure.
I'm not going to lie, Mr. Proof. I feel like I gave a lot of paths to victory. I'm going to give it up to Jay.
You
Obviously, he did a
I think
phenomenal
Jay pushed
job.
back. Yeah. This was amazing.
No, I'm going to say right now, and Jay, maybe you can speak to this in 1 second here. I feel like, and you tell me if I'm talking out of turn, I feel like the first time Jay came on this show in season 1, he was a little bit nervous. He had to shake a little bit of those of the rust off.
Yeah.
And I was able to get the victory in that battle very, very closely. And I feel that Jay right now, season 2, is now feeling a little bit more at the height of his personal powers of debate. And he brought it as hard as I knew he was going to. I knew I needed a lot of paths to victory. But unfortunately, at least in the eyes of Sam Proof, it was not enough. Jay, how do you feel about that?
You haven't even seen my final form.
Well, that's
no,
terrifying.
Ray, you had me chomping at my nails. My fingernails are worn down to the stubs now. That was so many great points. Using her powers in ways that I haven't imagined. I think they should hire you to write the show, actually.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think you would make a great writer on My Little Pony if that's something you want to add to your resume, because I was pretty worried too. I didn't have an answer for some of those things, a lot of those things, but pure brutality maybe won out in the end here. And I will put my victory to luck alone. Like Sam said, it was just too close to call.
Yeah, the back and forth on this was amazing. This was, I think the vote is going to be really super slim and like close, the margin there. And maybe one more round of points and I would have gone the other way.
Well, I only had so much more I was going to be able to say. There's a lot, of course, for both of us that we talked about it while you were making your decision. A lot of meat had to be left on the bone because we only have so much time for round after round. You got to make cuts. You gotta feel out what you think is going to work and then cast aside the rest of it. And sometimes you just run out of time. In this particular case, I'm sure there was more specific Lobo feats I could have brought up of where he got beat. I brought up my favorites. The times that Twilight Sparkle won some big battles. I had to leave some of that on the table because I don't assume our audience knows enough about the pony universe for it to impress them. When Jay says Superman, I don't have an equally identifiable character that she's beaten that people would care about.
Right.
So it's a tough battle in that regard, but my goodness, these are two delightful characters. And I'm very excited to see what the people vote and what the people have to say.
Definitely. All right, Jay, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, find me on Insta, TikTok at J3Boxing. I hang around on Facebook, just my page, J Sandlin III. Find me on this podcast too.
Awesome. All right, and Ray, any last words?
First off, Jay, congratulations on getting the Sam side of this victory. That in itself is something that few achieve ever. So you got to take the dub on that. We will be seeing Jay. He versus William Schmidt. Will be the first battle, Raphael, the Ninja Turtle versus the Toxic Avenger. And that's going to air not too long after this episode airs, or maybe right before it for all I know. I don't know how the timeline works with all of this, but you're going to be seeing even more of Jay. And then depending on how the people on Patreon vote, you could be seeing even more of Jay after that.
Yeah.
Depending on who wins that battle, that's purely going to be up to Patreon. Obviously, take this moment to say patreon.com/who-would-win-masters. If you want your voice heard, you want to vote, you want to be a part of what we're doing here, you want to come listen and be a part of us in the live recordings of our wrap-up episodes, we're here for all of that, and you can join for free. Not a free trial, for free. Just join up, and we will give you all the access to the Discord and everywhere else. We'd love to see you there. You listen to the show. I know, I see the numbers. Lots of people listen to the show, but only a certain percentage of them, and it's not a high percentage, get involved in the Patreon. So if you're listening to the show, you're invested, you want to know what's going on, get on there and be a part of what we're doing. We're here for you.
Yeah, definitely do that. And speaking of the wrap-up show, we will be back in 1 week with the wrap-up show for this episode to reveal the tally of your votes. We'll react to your comments and your 5-star reviews for the podcast and the comments that are written on the Discord. So you can keep the debate going over at the Who Would Win Masters Discord. You can find that link pinned on the Patreon, which again is at patreon.com/who-would-win-masters. And that is where you will find the official vote for this battle. And if you think I'm getting some dry mouth here. If you think you've got what it takes to step into the challenger's chair, record a 1-minute video demo of yourself, send it to who-would-win-masters@gmail.com, and who knows, we might see you on the battlefield, sitting across from Ray in a future episode. For Who Would Win Masters, this is Sam Proof.
stay strong.